guys, what is going on? It has been so long since I have made a car review, and I asked you guys on Instagram if you'd like to see a review of this car, and the overwhelming majority said, hell yeah, make a review on it. So today I'm here to make this review for you guys. So if you guys would like to participate in future polls or help me decide on video topics, make sure to follow me on Instagram at auto.autopsy. I'll also always post stuff in advance what's going on with the cars, because as you can see, I have the Miata completely torn apart right now. Still waiting on the radiator and fans, but I do have the other parts that I need. So anyways, this video is not about that. This video is about this. This right here is a 2003 Saab 9.3. Now this is my dad's car actually, and he bought this maybe half a year ago, maybe a little bit more than that, for $500. Yes, this car was bought for $500. Granted, it needed a little bit of work, but he bought this for $500. So I'm going to go ahead, jump in the car, let's go drive it, and I'll tell you guys some more about it. I am driving a 2003 Saab 9.3. Now 2003 was an odd year for the 9.3 because it meant the dawn of the new 9.3 sports sedan, which I own. I coincidentally have a 2003 9.3 as well, but it's with the newer body style. So I'll put a picture of that on the screen now. I'm sure 99% of you watching this video already know what I mean. But 2003 was a weird year because they still used the old convertible body style from the OG 9.3, but for the NG 9.3, or the 2003 Plus sports sedan and 2004 Plus convertible, they had the new body style, new engine, new everything. So this 9.3 in particular is powered by a 2-liter turbocharged engine producing 205 horsepower. It's honestly fairly quick. It's front-wheel drive, just like pretty much every other Saab on the market with the exception of a few all-wheel drive models. And honestly, it's got the 5-speed manual, and that to me is what makes it so worth it. So for $500, how good is this car? Has it been good for my dad in the, I don't know, maybe 8,000 miles of ownership so far? Honestly, yes, it has been terrific for him. So when he got it, in all honesty, I don't remember exactly what was wrong with it. It did have to be towed. I believe it needed a new water pump. And there was also, I think the serpentine belt was broken or something, so it needed a good full weekend worth of work. But after that weekend and a few other little tune-ups in the next following week, this has been a perfect daily driver since then. I mean, he has absolutely loved this car. I love it too. I mean, it's really fun to have a boosted manual car. I mean, anyone that has one knows that. It has been a terrific car for him, and that's the thing with Saabs. You know, if you take care of them, especially if you buy one that has been well taken care of, you're gonna have good luck with them. So like I said, no major problems have come back. No problems whatsoever that weren't already there when he bought it have come back since he bought it. So in other words, no new problems have emerged. Now the one big issue that still doesn't work, but my dad doesn't really care about, and honestly neither do I, is the convertible top doesn't work. Now if we lived in California, Florida, someplace where it's always beautiful weather, that would kind of be sucky. But I mean, we live in Arizona. This time of year it's just starting to warm up. We've probably had the last month or so has been good convertible weather. But the nice thing about these cars is, or any convertible really, is you've got this huge, massive, just almost one big window here because you don't have a B-pillar. I mean, you just have this little black strip where the door opens and closes. But I mean, in essence, it's just one big side window. With that comes a downside of having a massive blind spot right over your shoulder where the convertible top comes down. Now, personally, I prefer sedans, or I guess closed roof cars, over convertibles, unless you're looking at something like a Miata. But I mean, in all honesty, there is a good amount difference between the convertible and the normal OG 9.3 sedan. And the big downside of this is mostly the wind noise. So I am purposely doing this review at 20 to 30 miles an hour because I already know how this car drives, and of course I'll explain that more later. But if I'm driving on the freeway right now, you guys aren't going to be able to hear me very well. I mean, there's going to be so much wind noise coming in. Unfortunately, the tires on this car aren't the best. There's a lot of tire noise as well. And that's just the downside of a convertible. I mean, you just don't have the same comfort and quietness. I mean, you still have the same comfort. You still got the same comfortable seats, the same nice AC, you know, all that stuff. But you just don't have that same lack of road noise that you do with sedan or a closed roof car, just because you don't have that same insulation. Now, a lot of people like to say that these cars have a lot of turbo lag, and quite frankly, I don't think it has a whole lot of turbo lag. You can tell when you get on it. Give it a little bit. I mean, it's not a whole lot of lag, but it gets into boost pretty quickly, and it's very smooth with its power delivery, I feel. It doesn't matter what gear you're in, it'll build up the boost, and then you can just kind of feel it. And the thing that I really love about this motor is it sounds like it's never trying hard. In other words, you don't feel like the motor is like whining and screaming as you rev it out to 6,000 RPM if you choose to do so. It's just kind of like, you know, like it doesn't make a whole lot of noise. It doesn't sound like it's putting forth a lot of effort to give you that 200 horsepower. And it's honestly, it's quite nice. It makes a very subtle sound. You know, like I'll go down to first gear here. Ooh. That's another thing about this car. You get some torque steer with it, but that makes it fun. Torque steer is fun. I don't care what you say. Torque steer makes it fun. You guys probably couldn't hear that there, but that pretty much didn't bang off the rev limiter, but that got shot out to 6,000 RPM there, and you could barely even hear the motor. You heard tires squeal, and that was about it. I just love how quiet and just, I don't know if refined would necessarily be the right word, but these motors just, they never feel like they're working hard. It's kind of hard to explain, but for those of you that own a car or a Saab with the B235 or one of these motors, they know, I mean, you guys know that just, they never feel like they're putting forth a whole lot of effort when you give it the full enchilada, as Salamandrin likes to say. So for $500, could you find yourself one of these? Realistically, probably not. Yes, you could find one for $500, but it's not going to be in perfect running condition like this one is, with no check engine light or anything. Now, I want to tell you guys how much my dad has roughly put into this car to get it to where it's at. Now, because he knows everything, I wouldn't say he knows everything, because he's a very confident mechanic and he can fix a lot of the problems with cars, he was able to do all the work to get this car perfect by himself. So with that being said, no labor was included, and with parts and everything, I would say he's barely over $1,000 into this car, and that is really awesome. So for $1,000, we'll just say $1,000, he's got a great reliable daily driver. It's a manual, it's boosted, it's also only got 135,000 miles, which for a 15-year-old car, depending on where you live in the country or out of the country, that might seem like a lot, but out here in Arizona, that's less than 10,000 miles a year, and that's pretty good for cars out here in Arizona because a lot of people out here have to commute a lot. So like I said about comfort and ride, the ride is very, very smooth. Now I'm doing about 40 miles an hour. I'm sure that you guys can hear some of the road noise going on in the background, but in terms of suspension, it is just, I feel like I'm riding on a cloud right now. Granted, I'm on a pretty smooth road, but I don't feel any bumps or divots. I mean, it's still a very smooth and comfortable car. Styling-wise, I am a big fan of these 9.3s. They do look very 90s, though, with the block headlights and stuff, but I still think it looks good. I mean, I still really like the look of them. The side profile, honestly, it's not the best, but not many convertibles do have good side profiles. Good rear end, got the single exhaust coming out the back. And on a cold start, these cars actually don't have a terrible exhaust note. So, I mean, I don't know, I think it's a perfect amount of sportiness, but you still get that same luxury and comfort that you would expect for a car that was in this price point when it was new. Now, of course, with any Saab, you also still have all those quirky features that I have featured in a video specifically on this car, actually, 7 quirky things about the Saab 9.3 convertible. Now, I'll link that up in the description if you'd like, but of course you still got features like the night panel, the key in the center, down by the gear selector, just all these classic Saab things that you still get from this car, and that's just another thing that makes it so special. Alright, we're doing about 40 here. Let's go ahead and give it the beans from second. Oh yeah. Ooh. That was 60, actually extremely, like, faster than I thought that car hit 60. Wow. Yeah, so right there was pretty much zero turbo lag. I was actually really impressed. It spooled up pretty quickly. Granted, I was sitting in second gear for a couple seconds before I punched it. That's pretty impressive. This transmission is actually extraordinarily smooth. Like, there is zero resistance changing gears, downshifting. I mean, I really do love the transmission in these. I think it's just it's just an easygoing transmission. You don't have to shove it in the gear. It's not hard to find gears, you know, if that makes sense. So with that being said, that's the $500 Saab 9.3 convertible. Granted, it is not a perfect used car, but of course, any $500 car is going to have its flaws. As for right now, I mean, this car has been dead reliable, gets good fuel economy too. I believe he averages about 26.5 miles per gallon. So that is pretty good for a car of this era, I'd say, combined. So, I mean, if you guys have any more questions about this car, I'd be more than happy to answer them down below in the comments. I don't have much else for this review. This is the first time I've done a review in so long, so I apologize. I feel like I didn't do the best I could. I mean, I feel like it wasn't the most coherent and thought out review, and I feel like it could have been better. So please let me know how I could improve my next review. But that's going to be it for me, guys. If you enjoyed this video and you love Saab, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. That's it for me, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next video.